What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank you all for tuning in. As always, really appreciate each and every one of you around here. For today's video, we're going to do a preview for round 10 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship that's going down in Birmingham this weekend. We got the championship firing back into action after the only weekend off for the entire series, and as always, we got plenty to talk about, like some new fill-in riders for Pro Circuit Kawasaki and Twisted Tea Suzuki. The Pro Circuit curse is continuing with another one of their riders now out with injury. We have what I am beyond excited for in the East-West Showdown this weekend, where we'll get the best of the best in the 250 class all on one gate. We got the 450 championship that may now be down to a two-horse race, and then of course we'll get into our track preview, track breakdown, virtual POV lap, and my predictions for what I think is going down in Birmingham this weekend, where there should be several obstacles for the racers, but hopefully not the obstacle that they had a few years ago with the 30-card girl running around on the course on lap 1. Could have been bad, but it wasn't. But before we get into all that, got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. They help keep this whole thing going, help me get to all the races and all the places I go to bring you guys the content that I do. So please, guys, do me a favor and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Serious Studio, who can take care of all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further than there. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep us going. So if you're supporting them, you are literally supporting me. And also, I'm doing the TV announcing for the GT Arena Cross Series on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 with Daniel Blair. Here's the airing schedule. Would really appreciate it if you guys would tune in. Not only will entertainment be guaranteed in your contract, but it'll also help me keep my job. But thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoy today's video. Alright, to start off today's video, first topic, we got some new mid-season fill-in riders with Nick Romano getting a spot on Pro Circuit Kawasaki for the rest of the 250 East Region Series, stepping in for the injured Drew Adams. And then we got Justin Bogle. He'll be filling in for Jason Anderson on the Twisted Tea Suzuki ride. And while both of these are really cool stories that I'm a big fan of, I don't think these were the riders we were expecting when talking about fill-in riders for 2026. Usually these fill-in rides go to the guys that are out there racing and proving themselves weekend by weekend, but both of these deals are going to guys that have not only not raced all year, but they haven't even raced Supercross for quite some time compared to all their competition. It's been several years for Bogle, and it's been since the beginning of last season for Romano, but both have been riding and practicing a lot, staying ready so they don't have to get ready, no choice. Bogle has been riding with Colt Nichols in the Oklahoma crew, while Nick Romano has been in Florida at the Sandbox riding with Levi Kitchen, who may have even helped Nick land this fill-in ride. I talked to Bogle at the Arlington Supercross, and he was pretty confident that he still got it as far as the ability goes. I mean, you don't really just lose that, but he did mention that going for a full 20-minute plus one main event would be super tough, so I would for sure expect to see him in the main event with some flashes of style and dog pissers, but I'm also thinking that he's probably going to need a few weeks at least to build back into some main event results. He's also ridden this bike and for this team before, so he knows the platform, and he can probably be very valuable with some testing considering all of his experience, but regardless of all that, I'm just stoked to see Bogle back. He's a super good dude that really didn't get to leave Supercross on his own terms, so it's really cool to see him get another shot. And then we got Nick Romano. He's a little bit of a different story. He came out firing as a rookie on Star Yamaha, but ever since then he's been held back by injuries and hasn't ever really gotten to get going again to the level that he had in 2022 Pro Motocross. But we can work with speed. All the team managers say it, and Nick has it. He's had some really good riders to gauge himself off of at the practice tracks, and it seems like the grind has been put in. I think Nick realizes how big of an opportunity this is after falling off the factory rider wagon early on, and I'm really hoping to see him make the most of it. Coming in at the Showdown is a very bold strategy cotton, and making the main could be pretty tough with all the East and West guys coming together for a single national, but it could also be a low pressure way for him to get used to the team and all that on race day, so then he can come out firing when it's just the East guys next weekend. I could see Nick slotting about into that 6 to 10 range if everything starts clicking and he maximizes his potential on the PC Cowie. His Supercross results aren't really quite there yet, but he's got what it takes to change that, and I'm rooting for it to happen. But above all, gotta love the fact that fill-in rides are kind of making a comeback here. It seems like the teams haven't really been doing this for a while, but we love to see it. And while that first topic was positive because we're getting new names into the mix, this next one is the total opposite because the Pro Circuit curse has unfortunately continued, and right as they grab a fill-in rider, they lose another rider. Cameron McAdoo is out for the Showdown this weekend after breaking his humerus in his crash at Seattle. Nothing funny about it. Of course, the dude dogged it out the rest of the night, and he thought he was just bruised up in classic McAdoo fashion, but the damage has been proven to be a little bit too bad to get back in time for Birmingham this weekend, and now he's out. And man, this sucks to see. The dude's had some trouble making it through an entire season healthy, and it looked like this year he had kind of toned it down a little bit, maybe in hopes of being a little bit more consistent and making it to the end. But Seattle was insane. There were more lines out there than on Joey Diaz's coffee table, ruts everywhere, and it was treacherous enough to reach up and grab tons of people, not just Cameron. He still every once in a while is a loose unit from time to time, but I really feel like Cam's gotten a way worse rap for being sketchy and not being able to stay healthy over the last years than he deserves. I mean, we all remember the Atlanta Speedway body varial flip over the bridge and all that stuff that happened that year. He was a wrecking ball. That Cameron McAdoo was a massive sketch ball, but over the last several years, I feel like he's really smoothed it out and improved his technique a ton, but he's still gone out with injuries. I know at least one of them was a bike issue causing a crash, so obviously that's not Cam's fault. I don't know enough about the rest of them to speculate, but I just feel like he's improved a crap ton without being able to finish out a season to show for it. And it's too bad that 2026 is going to end the same for him. I'm sure he'll be back, and he's a podium machine, so when he does come back, I'm sure he'll knock out a few more of those. And what a bummer for Pro Circuit Kawasaki. It seems like it just never ends for him. I really feel like it's more the PC Kawi riders than it is the team, but at the same time, the riders are the team, so it's kind of all one unit there, but I feel like that's the cause of the curse, but still, for a team that's such a powerhouse, they don't seem to have a damn bit of luck in the contract. Next up is my favorite topic of the week, and that is the fact that we're getting an East-West Showdown this weekend. Best 250 races of the year, all the baddest dudes from the East and West line it up to smash clavicles and do battle, and this is the first time this year that we're getting to see these guys match up, so the suspense is at an all-time high. I feel like it's pretty much impossible not to come into this thing thinking that Hayden Deegan is the favorite. He's been beyond dominant on the West Coast. He's been amazing in every category, and he looks to be the full package in his final season before moving up to 450s. And while he is the favorite, that doesn't mean it's a guarantee for him to get a W. It's actually far from that. All it takes is a bad start or one early mistake, and it'll be twice as hard to claw through the field with all the East and West guys racing. It is possible, but I do think it's going to take something reasonably big to keep Hayden Deegan from winning this thing. Especially after the Instagram video I just saw. I mean, the dude's been riding a 450 outdoors, he hopped back on the 250, and he looks ridiculous. But right behind Deegan for the favorite is Cole Davies for me. We all have seen and know what he can do. He's pretty insane on the bike, and if we get the Cole Davies that showed up in Indy, then maybe he'll be able to fight with Deegan for the win. They had several battles last year, but 2026 Hayden Deegan is light years better than 2025, so I guess it's going to come down to how much better 2026 Cole Davies is than 2025 Cole Davies, and that's if they even start together or find each other out there on the track. The thing with these shootouts is that they're so stacked with double the competition that sometimes chances some of these rivals that we're going to discuss may not even see each other. And who could forget about Deegan taking out Davies in Denver last year? Could there be some repressed beef from almost a year ago? I heard Cole mentioned in a YouTube video. It sounds like he still remembers, so stay tuned for all that. But behind Deegan and Davies, then I have the East boys at Hammaker and Shimoda, along with Levi Kitchen being right there, but maybe just a tick or two off on paper. But if they're feeling it Saturday night and grab a whole shot, then any of those guys could easily be your winner. And speaking of beef with Deegan, I'm sure Kitchen is still extra motivated to get a W against him. Hayden's got a massive target on his back, but that's just the way he likes it. It's in his contract. But then we got to give some honorable mentions to Pierce Brown, Max Anstey, Dax Bennick. Ryder D will race him when it's time, and unfortunately, not Michael Mosiman because the Piano Man sang us a song about injury, and like I mentioned, we're not getting Cameron McAdoo either, so no need to worry about whether his balls will be in or out. They'll be at the house. But there's so many more guys. I could name 6 or 9 more names, and I would still miss some more guys, but predicting these shootouts is always insane. It's always so stacked, and so much can happen with only 15 minutes and a lap to decide it. With the level being this high and tight at the top, I really think this one's going to come down to the start for most of the riders, with the exception of a few that can tear their way through the pack. Predictions are coming at the end of the video, but I'll predict this right here and right now. This thing's going to be a banger. And last but not least, before we get into the track preview, the predictions, and all that fun stuff, is the 450 Championship that now appears to be down to a 2-horse race after another Hunter Lawrence and Eli Tomac 1-2 at Indy. And this is not exactly what I was expecting here, but I'm here for it. I didn't really know how ET would be transitioning to something so much different this late in his career, and I slept on Hunter so hard that I can still hear myself snoring in the background. I had a Webb versus Sexton title fight in my predictions, and I was very wrong. This is about the best version we've ever seen of Eli Tomac, and Hunter is more than picking up the slack for HRC Honda while Jet is out. And speaking of Jet, could he come back and help Hunter at the final few rounds of Supercross? That would be a wild dynamic, but both of these guys have had rounds that they threw away some points at. Hunter and Honda have still got to be pissed about the lack of penalties in Arlington, but it's tight at the top, and they got a big gap on the rest of the field. Who's your pick? My heart wants Tomac, but my brain has been saying Hunter a little bit louder by the round. The dude is nasty this year. And while it seems to be down to just those two, anything could happen. We've seen it before. Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen are lurking back there, and we've seen the top 2 go out of a championship before. Who remembers Supercross 2023? I do, and so do Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac. It's rare. Nobody is hoping any of that happens, but it's just a reminder that in this sport, it is truly never over until the final checkered flag flies. It would be a cool story to see either Hunter or ET become champ this year, and I have a feeling that this thing's going down to the final laps in SLC. Now we'll go ahead and get into our track preview, our track breakdown for round 10 in Birmingham this weekend. And with the layouts they've been putting in this stadium, I thought it was one of the smaller ones of the year, but last year I was corrected by somebody who actually told me it was one of the biggest stadiums of the year, so we'll go with that. But at first glance, I'm really not a huge fan of this track. I mean, the crossing of the start straight I think is a little bit excessive, and with the start straight being so damn long and right in the middle, I feel like that takes up a lot of real estate for some cool sections that could be in the contract. But for round 10 of the season, I mean, we're deep into this thing, and we got a showdown. I just feel like it's a really basic track with maybe not a whole lot of separation, but I say that, it always comes down to how they build it on race day, but let's go ahead and get into it. We got the start, nice and long, right down the middle of the stadium into a sweeping left-hander. And one thing I heard about all these long start straights right down the middle this season in Supercross is that the Supercross direction, they don't want those short start straights into the 90-degree corners anymore because there's usually a lot more pileups in those with this long start. It really helps separate the guys before they actually get into turn one, so I guess that's some reasoning there. But the first corner, a flat sweeping left-hander into the first rhythm, longest rhythm section on the track with a little bit of an offset angle, first jump into there. But I think the lines are going to be double in and then maybe triple again, and triple one more time, or maybe you could roll in on the inside depending on how they build that single. If there's not much there on the inside, maybe you could roll in and then triple again, triple one more time, and single out. I don't really see a triple in being much of an option there, even on the regular lap, because there's not really much of a reason to go way outside there. But like I already said once, we'll see how they build it when we get to race day, because that first jump on the angle, that could really determine what lines are used through there. But then out of the first rhythm section, we got a 180 bull corner to the right. Then we got our whoop section. It's looking like a short set this week, probably only 8 or 9 of them. And then right out of the whoops, another right-handed bull corner. So going to be interesting to see if anybody can get a good enough run through those whoops to get a pass into that next corner. But then we got a right-handed bull corner, and then just a basic 3-2 or a 2-3. Looks like a nice berm right there, so I think 3-2 will probably be the line, and then that puts you into one of these bull corners that doesn't quite last all the way around the corner because it leads you back onto the start straight. And I think that could be a nice little passing spot as long as we don't get an inside rut right there, because you're going to have to go wide to try to square up and keep some momentum for that start straight. And if you do that, you're going to leave the inside open for a pass. So hopefully we see some block passing there, but then you're back onto the start straight, diagonal across it into a right-hander. Not quite a full 180, maybe about a 150 or a 160. Not entirely sure. I left my protractor at home, even though I am at home. I just don't have it on me. But then you just got a little pop double into the basic finish line yacht. That puts you into a left-handed 180, and then you're into another rhythm section. I'm thinking this one will be a step on, step off, and then a triple out, or maybe a step over, table over single, triple out, or maybe, and I mean maybe, step over, and then a quad, or a tabletop over 2 singles, depending on who you're asking, and then a double out, and that puts you into a 90, followed by a 353, and I'm hoping that maybe they build that 5 really steep or something, so you get rewarded if you go wide and do the triple. But I have a feeling the line's just going to be to exit that rhythm section, stay tight, and kind of bounce the 3 into the 5 and double off of it. Then you're across the start for the first time. You got a little single, and this is a unique little section. It looks like we got a couple of split corners. Hopefully they actually build it like this, because if they don't, then I'm not sure what's going to go on through here. But you got an inside-outside split, back across the start straight, and then a little double. Another inside-outside split with a triple right out of that corner. Then you're back into the first corner, sweep in, and then you're back into that first rhythm section with all the combos that I talked about earlier, and that's a lap around Birmingham for round 10 of Supercross. Like I said, not my favorite track, but what the hell do I know? Hopefully I'm wrong. Now let's get into our virtual POV lap by way of MX Simulator. No choice. And last but not least, my predictions for this weekend for the East-West Showdown and the 450 class this weekend in Birmingham. And for the 250, since it's East-West, I'm going to give you guys a top 5 for the win, I'm going with Hayden Deegan. Kind of already explained why. I just think he's the best guy, and I think something's going to have to happen to keep him from staying on top. Then for second, I'm going to go with Seth Hamaker. He won the first shootout last year. I feel like he's good at these things, and he had an off round at Indy, so I feel like he's good for due for a good round at this one. And then in the third spot, Cole Davies. I feel like he's really going to be gunning for Deegan for the win on this one, but he hasn't exactly had the best starts. I mean, he made it work anyway in Indy because he was so much better than everybody else, but if he doesn't get the start, it might be a little bit of a struggle for him to fight his way up onto the box. And then I got Joe Sushi Wasabi Shimoda 4th, and then Levi Kitchen 5th. Joe right there with those other 2 East guys. I feel like they're all pretty interchangeable. And then we've all seen what Kitchen can do. I mean, he took some fight to Deegan in Seattle, but also his starts have been horrible. And like I said, I feel like it's really going to come down to the start at this showdown with twice the competition. So that's why I've got Kitchen at the back end of the top 5. But then in the 450 class, keeping it simple with the top 3. For the win, I'm going with Eli Tomac for a rebound. I feel like he's due for one. I know he's pissed after losing the Triple Crown and the Lapper National, so I feel like he's coming to Birmingham for redemption. Then in second, I'm going with Hunter Lawrence. I feel like him and ET, they've kind of just separated themselves as the 2 best guys, so barring some disasters or crashes, I kind of feel like for the most part, we're going to see an ET versus Hunter battle for the win at the remaining rounds of the season. And then in the third spot, I'm going with Cooper Webb. He was my championship pick. It seems like it's slipping away from him, and the momentum's not really in his corner either. I feel like these other 2 that I've got ahead of him have just got a little bit of a tick on him in speed in most of the categories this season. So I've got Webb rounding out the podium, but you never know till the gate drops. That's why we go racing. And, you know, I sometimes I think I know the sport, but sometimes I predict things. Then when the races actually happen, it makes me think I don't know the sport at all. So hopefully we're in for a good race on Saturday night. But that's all I got for you guys for this week's video. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, please let me know what you thought of the video, if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you liked my takes, if I'm an idiot, cooked unit, if you just want to throw hate my way, anything your heart desires, throw it into the contract, no choice. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Free of choice.